So if you can have a second radio like that for that size, why don't?
Yeah, why not then?
Yeah, I mean those are itty bitties.
Yeah.
Great. So ATIS, so 125 to switch is this.
There it's it.
Contact evaded information, India.
India.
Chino Airport, ATIS information, India, 164.7 Zulu, wind calm, visibility 10, few clouds at 10,000, temperature 30, 2.14, altimeter 2991, ILS for train 26 right in use, landing and departing runway 26 right and runway 26 left. Notice, attention aircraft 5G notice in effect for Chino. For further information, contact flight service frequencies. Amendments to optical departure procedures and instrument approach procedures, numerous trains in the vicinity of Chino Airport, check notice for details. Stay position on initial contact, reset runway time and hold short instructions, use caution for a long life in the vicinity of Chino Airport. Advise initial contact, evaded information, India.
India. Okay.
India. Great. Let's call ground.
Okay.
All right, and it's just trigger, right?
Yeah, let's pull up here before we do. So let's go ahead and release the parking brake. Squeeze that.
Oh, no. So I just squeeze that,
yep.
And then the pawl should come off, did it?
Yeah, oh, it did, yeah. It's off.
That's why. I thought it was still stuck. That's
oh, yeah.
Great.
Yep. We're good.
Okay, and then I'm using my
feet
rudder.
to steer, yep.
And slow down is?
Squeeze the brake.
Squeeze the brake. Got it. Practice squeezing that brake. That brings us back. Cool. And then, are you leaving at 2,000 here, or are you bringing it back to like?
While we taxi, we bring it back. But if we're just sitting at the run-up area when we first start, I go to 2,000 just because. What happens is at lower RPMs, you can feel there's more of a vibration, and it shakes the gearbox pretty good. And I just had to replace a gearbox on one of the other ones, and it was $6,000. So I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So Rotex is like, you'll warm it up at 2,000. And I'm like, okay.
Awesome.
I don't know why they have a Chinese accent, but it's all right. Let's go around the corner so they can just see us.
Oh, that's right. You want to be able to be.
That way they know who we are.
Don't poke out.
There we go.
Because the movement area is beyond the fueling station here?
It's way up there, yeah. So we're still in the non-movement area. And we're at Eagle's Nest 2, and there's our call sign right there, 232 Papa Golf.
Chino ground, November 232 Papa Golf with India is at Eagle's Nest 2, requesting taxi to the active.
26, do I request 26?
Gyro 232 Papa Golf, Chino ground, runway 26 right, taxi via Mike Delta Alpha, cross runway 21.
26 right via Mike Delta Alpha, cross runway 21, 2 Papa Golf.
All right, cool.
Great, and that, I don't have to hold, am I keeping this from flopping around? Or
yeah, I do. I keep my hand on it just because it'll bounce around and bang into your knees, if you hit a wind or anything. So I just kind of put a hand on it just to hold it.
So in terms of speed and bumps and going too fast?
I just do a normal taxi speed, like a fast walk, I don't like to haul butt, or anything like that, taxiing.
I see how the yoke, the stick will slam around a little bit.
Yeah.
Slam into my
your knees, yeah.
Oh, here?
Yeah, we'll do a right.
Oh, right there's Mike, there you go.
Yeah, right on Delta and left on Alpha.
Delta, Alpha, Mike, that's it.
Yeah, Mike is the one we were just
Mike.
on.
There we go.
Delta, Alpha, yeah.
So we're having a airport checklist is helpful.
Yeah.
For the map. You're right.
Okay, clear left. So here's something to note. So the pressure's kind of leaked down to 6-ish. And on this one, we need to kind of tighten up. And you see how the blade kind of rotated to the left a little bit? So you can either pump it back up to like 8, and that'll put a pretty good grab on it. But even at 6 or less, you can see the blade will start kind of wiggling around if you make a turn or something. So that's why I like to keep them kind of pumped up. It's a nice firm grip on the blade.
So almost in some ways you'd want maybe to even say like for pre-taxi rotor pressure 8 bar or anything
it depends on the model. Like this one at 6 leaks. The blue one you flew yesterday at 6 is really solid. So over time, maybe it loosens up. Again, we've got 830 hours on this one, so we've planed a lot.
I have it idle, so then I'm relying on brakes to slow me down.
Yeah. And again, the deal on the brakes is if you do ride them a little bit, they'll get warm pretty quick. And then so I keep off them, and then if I really need them, and then
so you're fine with just being able to like click?
Oh yeah, that's what I normally I do with this. I'll stop like pretty good, and then I'll let it off. The longer you're off the brakes, the more they cool down.
Good.
That's what I found anyway.
Okay. And so you're not.
If you ever get to somewhere and then all of a sudden, oh shit, no brakes, bam, just turn the mags off. That's what I do.
Okay.
Try not to hit something.
Chino ground,
Cessna 4343 Quebec at North Hangar, we'll get taxi with information India.
All right, right here is cool.
Cessna 4343 Quebec, Chino ground, runway 26 right, taxi via
And you can
Mike
reset
Delta
the parking
Alpha,
rig
cross
if you
runway
like.
21.
There you go.
I would, so I
Taxi
don't
via
have to
Mike
squeeze it all
Delta
the time.
Alpha, runway 21, runway 26
All right,
right.
I run a warm up to 2,000 RPM.
And that's what we're kind of doing. These are coming up now. So we're pretty good on the warm. We're probably okay.
And we're gonna do that and then control check.
So a control check. So on a plane, you know, you do this whole business.
Yeah.
This, we don't pull that back because you're going to hit the propeller. So I just do a left and a right.
Okay.
So just do a left and a right control check.
Left.
Yep.
We should see that twisting and
Should
doing
twist
that
like that.
arcing.
The main reason I do a control check is for people who've never flown with me before, because they'll do their knees like this, you know, and then you can't move the stick.
I need full authority. Please
Right.
give me full authority. Excellent. So there, and then we're gonna do
Dallas
throttle
38,
2,500.
Chino ground, runway
Yep,
26
so
right, taxi
2,500
via
on the
Juliet
engine.
Alpha, cross runway 21.
I'll turn her down for just a minute.
That's
Right about there is
2,500
good.
right there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then we're looking at the lane drop, so
Yep.
lane A.
And you're going to get very
Very
little.
little. It's 250, right?
And then you're going to wait till the light goes out. Otherwise, you'll start getting some warnings that go off. Okay.
Sorry.
You may have to hold it a little bit. There you go.
Back it up.
And then you can do
There you go.
And then do the B side.
Side, lights off. B on, drop, nothing, back on, let it do its lane check.
Yep.
And that's pretty much the full,
That's pretty much it.
and once it's off, then back to
Back to 2,000.
a little bit more because you feel the rumble, which really, wow, you really just itty bitty on that throttle.
It's touchy at the low end there, yeah. Okay.
Even at the high end, is it touchy?
No, it's not
Okay.
at the high end. Yeah.
Fuel check.
Just double check here. We checked it here, but I did double
It's
it's
visual.
you know, a little under a half tank. Yeah, we're good.
Roger. Oil temp.
So the oil temp is 120 on the Fahrenheit scale, which is on the inside here. So as long as the needle's above 120, you're good. Not 120 Celsius, of course. So if it's off the 120, then you're warm enough.
All right. Which we are, tower 118.15.
We'll dial in 118,500.
And is this the second one?
Yeah, nope, you just push it. See the cursor there?
Got it.
Yeah.
118,500.
Perfect. And then just flip it to the top. Boom. There you go.
Awesome. Taxi to runway. And then, so in the process of getting us to the runway, we have to do a static start, or what would be considered a static start for planes, because you're staying there and you're revving.
You mean for getting on the runway? For like an airport that's not used to you, you mean, or what?
Exactly.
I tell the runway, I say so-and-so tower, I said gyro 232 Papa Golf, we're going to need about 20 seconds on the runway for spin up. And then they seem to understand what that means. Great. Yeah, that's what I tell them.
All right. So taxi to the runway after we talk to them.
Actually, we can go ahead and pull up to the line. At this airport, they like us to go ahead and pull up and then call the tower.
Just at your 12 o'clock, 2 miles, 1,900 indicated.
Now see how this kind of sticks a little bit, so you just kind of push it open.
That's where, okay, that's where I was.
Yeah.
Push it positive out.
Turn base, 26 right, clear for the option, 091.
So these are the little things that happen once you get 800 hours on your ship.
You're like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
And 091 traffic, 3 mile final, parallel runway Cess, 1,400 indicated.
Working
All right, and then they don't even like the blade to go over the line, I found out, so we should stop a little short. Yep. Okay, so again, seatbelt tail is in, so I'm going to go ahead and do the door there.
Belt tail is in. Handle.
So here's it. Okay, you got it. Good. See how the front one latched, but the back one, sometimes that
I did
happens
see
too.
that.
Yeah. And we're going to do a straight out departure. Let's go ahead. We're on tower.
Zulu, start your turn toward the field. Number 2, following Cessna short final, runway 26 right, clear to land.
Clear to land.
He's going to make us wait.
I can still call him.
You can call me if you want. Yeah.
Chino Tower, Cavalon 232, Papa Golf is holding short of 26 right.
Are we going any specific?
Straight out.
Gyro 232, Papa Golf, Chino Tower, say departure request. We're going straight out, Gyro 23, Papa Golf. Gyro 2, Papa Golf, standby traffic landing.
All right. Oh, just for air up there.
Cozy 0 Charlie Zulu, continue northbound. I'll call the turn to rejoin the field.
So we're at 2,000. Great. So we're in taxi position. Second fuel pump on.
You can turn it on now if you want. Whatever.
Then we'll switch to flight mode, which is just flipping
Just
over
to flight.
flight.
And the trick with that is, and again, we're going to do whole lessons. We're going to do a bunch of air work on this one, and then we're going to do whole lessons that are just takeoff and landing procedures. But we can do it on this one as we go too. So for the brake to flight mode, you'll be holding the brakes, and when you do it, I always like you to keep your right hand on the stick, and then just let the brake go for a second. You're only going to roll about a foot, and reach up with your left hand to turn it onto flight, rather than take your hand off the right and turn it into flight. Because as soon as you do it, this thing is going to be loose, and if it comes back, you're going to hit your prop. You know.
Cool. So always maintain
Good. Hand on the
stick.
once you're in flight mode until you take off.
So you then you can trim it out.
Yeah.
Please C4, Chino Tower, continue northbound for a 4-mile final.
Boy, again, it's a weekday and they sound busy.
Custom 091, when able, begin that right cross and turn.
So to push that, you don't do your index finger because you will push the push to talk. So you just have to rotate your hand and do your thumb.
So it's a lift in,
Yeah.
which is nice that it's that far away, so you're not accidentally hitting it too.
Head over to Ontario.
So throttle 2000 with the brake, let go, let it do its thing. If it's going to roll a little bit, hit flight, and then come back to throttle.
091, maintain VFR at about 2000, squawk 0.
I'll talk you through the whole thing as we
For
roll
sure.
out. Yeah.
I'm just, sorry,
No, that's good. That's good.
That's just 16 Zulu, able to turn and taxi kilo, contact ground point 6.
And at that point, we're going up to 2,500 and then watching our rotor.
Gyro, how long you need on the runway?
20 seconds, please.
Gyro, 2 Papa Golf, able, no delay, runway 26 right, cleared for takeoff, straight departure approved.
Clear for takeoff, we'll hurry, 2 Papa Golf.
Chino Tower, helicopter 5 Papa Delta is on the east pad, requesting right close
So it's okay. I'll kind of just do this one quicker and then I'll kind of talk you through it.
Capture
Sounds
5
great.
Papa Delta, standby.
So as we pull out, we'll go ahead and go to flight mode now just to save a little bit of time.
Okay. And now we're going to hold the brakes once we get lined up.
So line up, hold the brake. Go ahead and switch us into, I'm sorry, we was in flight
Yeah,
mode.
you got flight mode.
So we're at 2,000 RPM with my thumb. I'm pushing down the pre-road button, holding it down.
Like we're not enough at our engine RPM though.
Yep. It'll kind of vary like that a little bit. Start the rotation. Now there's going to be a hard pull to the left. Rotor speed's coming up. That magic number is 200. I'm increasing throttle.
9514 Juliet, Chino Tower, continue down.
4 steps on the takeoff. Thumb off the button. Stick back. Release the brakes. Add a power. So stick all the way back.
All
Then-
the way back.
Yep, full back.
Okay.
Then at 300 RPM, the nose is going to float. And then it's the wheel balance. It's just balancing the wheel off right there.
14 Juliet, keep your base inside the wash.
So it's not getting too high and not getting too low. The closer you are to the ground, the faster it'll take off. So we add a little more power,
Send down when I call the base.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and then it comes off the ground. Little right pedal, little left stick. I'm adding trim, my thumb.
Which
Now it's a
direction?
trim control, and then back on the stick to climb out.
Touch a 6716 Juliet, Chino
Now you'll notice there's a lot of right pedal. I'll let you feel it.
Hold short, 26 right.
It's because the engine is so powerful on this guy, it's really torquing.
Runway heading 2 Papa Golf.
That's the 4 take it back across, runway 2 straight Papa.
It's really torquing hard left, so you have to give a lot of right pedal.
Okay.
And add a little more trim. We want to climb out at 60 knots. About a best climb.
Police 2
You're pretty much off the throttle at this point.
Take off, make right traffic.
Oh, yeah.
2 north Alpha, clear to land.
4 clear, takeoff 26 right, cleared for to land 21 north Alpha, right traffic.
So 200,
Helicopter 5
letting
Papa
go,
Delta, helicopter departing 26 right will be in right
And
close traffic for 2 north
going
Alpha.
out,
Follow them.
and then
East pad,
feeling that nose that start to lift,
Follow the helicopter.
stay on the wheel.
Then it's keeping the nose down, actually, as you add power, because it's going to want to continue to come up.
5 Papa Delta.
Got
Just 16 Zulu, cross, runway 2 straight Papa, hold short, runway 2 square the Papa, no delay.
Cross 26 right and go to 26 left.
That's right. We can come off the power a little bit. So we're in turbo because we're burning that much fuel, I can tell. So as soon as we come back up a little bit,
That's on you, hold short, runway
see how it kind of dramatically drops?
Yeah.
That means the turbo's off.
Okay, so there's
16 Zulu, I need you to stay, hold short, runway 2 square the Papa.
Hold short 26 left at Papa 16 Zulu.
4 take it back, contact tower south 120.12. 16 Zulu, contact tower south
This
120.12.
controller's sounding stressed.
someone needs to give him some backup.
Cherokee 2 Hotel Whiskey base, turn approved east of the wash.
Hope he's not
runway
also
2,
doing
Cherokee
ground.
Short final, runway 2.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I think he is. And both runways.
Turning base 502 Whiskey.
They throw a lot of helicopter activity into it, really
Yeah.
changing things. So is that prison still active? Or is
That
this
one
the
is
new
not. This one is. The one over there I call it the ghost prison. Let's see, we're still climbing a little bit, so you can back the power off just a little more. That sounds about good.
Wind calm.
In terms of situational awareness for you in this aircraft, that's when the iPad is going to be here for charts.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
but you know this area.
I know this area real well. Yeah. When I first trained student, I don't want them concentrating on where we are. I'd rather them concentrating on how to fly the machine. Because I know you know how to do navigation, so, you know.
Turn base over the wash, runway 26 right, clear to land.
And I can keep you out of trouble where we are. Yeah. The freeway here is pretty much the edge of the class Delta that we're leaving, so he'll probably frequency changes pretty quick, if he remembers.
123.5 is the...
On that, no, that's the common traffic frequency for that Lake Matthews.
Okay.
Out here, it's like 12275.
What information, Julia, would like to request couple pattern 1?
Cherokee 32, Juliet, I'll call your base for crossing.
You call my base, 32 Juliet.
So we're looking at 4300.
70520,
That's the rotor speed, so
No,
it's,
but I mean,
that's about the same. Yeah,
I guess that's they're almost the same.
Yeah. Usually, remember, the other was 48, so 40. Each one is different a little bit, you know.
Gyro, 2 Papa Golf, stand course heading.
Encore, we're staying straight ahead, just do the Chino Hills, 2 Papa Golf.
2 Papa Golf, on course approved, frequency change approved.
Change approved, 2 Papa Golf.
Yeah, good. Get off that guy. I don't have to listen to him anymore.
So
All
we're
right.
descending a little bit, so that means I basically...
So maybe a little more power. Just maybe it is closer to 48, 7, you know, somewhere in there. That seems about right.
But my trend indicator still shows me is going...
It takes about, there's a 5-second delay on your instruments here. Yeah.
And I want to be a little bit...
Well, it depends. That's
Take
all
down,
your
just
speed. It's whatever your speed is. So your speed here is 80. So if you want to trim it back, it'll pull down on the hat. That'll increase our pressure, and that'll bring our nose up, and that'll trim it down to a slower speed, probably. This sounds to me like the engine's running a little high, but it's probably fine. Oh yeah, see, we're going to climb. I've tuned myself to the sound of the engine, you know, of what sounds about right.
That's awesome.
64256, southbound 500 Palma Valley, U-turn, San Diego Northeast.
By the way, there's a little bit of a loose connection on this sensor on the oil pressure. So you'll see it, there's oil pressure here too as well. It's fine, but you'll see, occasionally you'll see a little blink. It's not oil pressure, it's this, I have to clean the contacts a little more.
Got it. This yaw string matches the ball
Is it?
pretty well. I don't know. Does it?
Sometimes.
Curious. Okay. That's why I was like, so you're more...
I go with that thing because I know that thing's accurate. So.
Perfect.
It's funny, the expensive electronic one when the piece of string and the Scotch tape works better. All right, we're going over to an area called the Happy Valley. I just named it that for some reason.
Through that part?
It's a little to the right.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go over this next ridge of houses. As you can tell, the ground elevation is rising as we come up here too.
Yep. So this area is probably about 1,000, 1,200?
About that, yeah.
With probably like 18, 16?
Probably so.
For that?
Yeah, this valley's a nice open valley. It's right after this ridge line you'll see up here, and it's wide open, so we just kind of go up and down and practice our maneuvers and stuff.
Perfect.
And double check, temperatures are all happy. Everything's looking pretty good. Yeah.
Nothing's in the red.
Nope.
Nothing's in the super yellow. So that pressure will stay like that?
About like
right
that,
on the
yeah,
edge?
right at the edge of that. On this one machine,
This one.
that's what that is, yeah. Yeah, of course, I flew this one from Maryland all the way to California, and it was like that. I'm like, I'm watching it all the time, freaking out, calling the factory, is that right? And they're like, it's fine.
Does this vent control for these vents?
It controls the heater, so, yeah,
So the heat comes out of those then?
out of those vents,
All
yeah.
right, so it's not any ram air.
No. There is ram air on our feet down here, and then you push to close and pull to open, so that should let a little air in through our feet.
So,
Okay, and let's climb up to 2,000 just so we don't skim these houses too much.
and is it a combination of throttle and pulling back?
Nope, not necessarily. You just add throttle and it would climb.
Wow. Because it's basically propelling us through the relative air faster, which then generates more lift
That's right.
on the disc. So I need to be even faster than that?
Yep. And again, keeping your speed the same, just keep it at 60. 60 is our best climb right there.
Best climb.
And you can see how we're climbing.
Now I see, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I needed to bump it more. So when I'm looking at that though, am I looking more for the engine speed versus the rotor speed?
I never look at the rotor speed at all.
Until your takeoff. So
Just for
this.
takeoff. Once we're flying, it's going to stay 420 forever. It's just
Got it.
engine RPM, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since that's being driven by the relative wind.
Right.
Got it.
All
So-
right, so there's our 2,000. Back to power off just a smidge here.
100.
Maybe back to 48, 47. All right, so this valley is all privately owned by the guy that lives in that little house down there, that farmer. They keep trying to get him to build stuff out here, but he says, nope, I want to keep the area pristine. So,
Way to go, dude.
yeah, I know. All right, so let's do a right turn. We'll head towards that little lake there.
Clear right. So this is a 25-degree
Yep.
turn.
And your nose is pitched down a little bit. See our airspeed picking up, so pick your nose up just a bit. There you go. It's a little back pressure on a turn.
Got it.
Not much pedal, obviously. You can see it stayed pretty much straight, you know.
Yeah.
But just a little back pressure. And we're going to fly down to the end of the valley, then we'll turn around to flapping down the valley a bit, and we'll practice a couple things.
Pull back a little bit of the power since we're still climbing.
Sounds good. And again, we are under the shelf of the class Charlie for Ontario here.
2700.
Char's at 27, yeah. So as long as we're there, we're cool.
And then straight my nose. So is straight right about there?
There's a little bit of a right pedal when you have, it depends on how much power.
Yeah.
Whenever you go back to a normal power setting, you're a lot less on the right pedal. Power changes are going to pitch the nose. If you go hard on the power, your nose is going to roll to the left. When you pull power off, it's going to roll to the right. So here, let's just show you that real quick. So we're going along, and we just stay neutral. If I pull the power off, see how the nose rolls to the right? If I add a lot of power, it's going to go the other direction. Now that's important to know for landing. So you're coming into land, you got some power on, you pull the power off to land, boom, the nose is going to roll right.
So you better be ready.
So be on the left pedal. Yeah. All right, you have the controls again.
My controls.
And you can make a right 180 if you would.
All right, clear right.
Yep. I try to stay over the valley here a lot and not fly over the houses just because people get irritated, you know.
Yeah, no. As much as I love planes, it is annoying too when I'm trying to do stuff. I'm like, this podcast is not recording well with your
Yeah.
helicopter, you damn Osprey, right over my head.
Right.
Because we're right by Pendleton for my wife and I.
Oh, yeah.
She had a podcast for a while, and that was frustrating. We'd be like, wait, pause, okay.
Yeah.
All right, the helicopters are gone. Oh, nope, they're back.
All right, so I'll tell you what let's do. You're doing so well. Let's do some slow fly. We'll stay at around 2,000 and take us down to about 40 knots and 2,000 if you would. Or 2,100 is fine since that's where we're at.
Without changing the throttle?
You can do anything you need. Yeah, so you probably will need to bring back on the throttle a little bit, I would say. There's your 40. If you need to trim, you can pull down for slow trim, up for fast. So that will speed your trim up a little bit. Now you see this little purple line is our vertical descent there. So we are in a little bit of a descent. So you
So
may
we
have
want a little bit of power.
a little bit of power.
Got it. Because the goal is to be at altitude.
Right. Remember, you have a 5-second delay on the instruments there. $2,000's good and 40. There you go.
Little speeding up a little bit again.
Yeah.
So back up.
Yes, to slow down, you pull down. And speed up is push up. Yeah.
They're really just doing it with pure trim, not even like stick and
That's
foot.
what I do.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I always want to be able just to kind of fly really lightly on the stick here. And if you're like this, you can see it. That's, yeah, you're right in there. Just makes it easier, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when I'm flying, I'm always like, I'm always playing with that thing, you know.
Awesome. So I feel like I'm putting it in and then it,
Takes a few
Creeps.
seconds to do its thing, yeah.
Okay.
Then you feel it.
so like
yeah.
now we got a trend line of going down, so I might take a little bit off.
Maybe so, yeah.
And
But you're right in the ballpark. You're pretty close.
small little bump of power.
And then, apologies, this is in miles an hour, and that's knots, by the way, just so you know. They are different.
Great. Horrible. I see the MPH now.
Yeah. We could change this one to knots, too. I don't know why we don't. I think the owner did that. I leased this one from a guy.
Nice way of forwarding it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, good job on the slow flight. Let's go back to normal speed, like between 60 and 70.
Let's pitch down.
Yep.
Playing with my... And then since now I'm speeding up, I saw the trend line dipping, so I would need to compensate with a little bit more.
A little bit. Yep.
But we don't want to go that fast, so put it back up a little bit. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Want me about 60 then?
Sure. And since we're coming up to this other hill, you'll know there are a set of power lines on the hill.
Yeah.
And so the deal about power lines, I'm a big anti-power line guy. Whenever you're going to cross power lines, do it at the poles. That way you know kind of where they are.
Cool,
and then,
I see one right there.
Yep. And then a lot of these poles, you can see they have the little balls on those for rotorcraft helicopters and us to kind of see where the lines are. So that's nice. Because, yeah, you won't see power lines and these things are, of course, fun to fly low. And just really keep an eye out for power lines.
It's a gnarly mix.
Yeah, go ahead and do a right 180 if you would.
Clear right.
And just for fun, I'm going to give you your celebrity home sighting here. That white house on the top of the hill there with the pool and the white tennis court belongs to Snoop Dogg.
Oh, really? It's Snoop Dogg's Chino Hills.
There you go.
Wow, so those must be very expensive homes all throughout there.
I would think so, yeah.
Jeez.
I should say it's one of his homes.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yeah.
I'm sure, like, how often is the man actually there?
Yeah.
Okay, so pull up a little bit. Down. They're really flying by pneumatics at this point.
I kind of do,
Cruise.
yeah.
Okay. Very enjoyable. It's fun. At first, I was a little shocked at how much vibration was at first, and I was curious how I'd kind of amend myself to that, but so far it's been fine.
Pick it up pretty quick. Yeah, you get used to it.
This is a trippy little property down here.
Yeah, his little farmer's there. He's got some cows and stuff, and we'll do emergency procedures here and everything. Get right on the deck and all that.
Awesome.
All right, so you just for fun, you can listen and hear the engine's about 4,800 RPM, and kind of listen to what the sound of that engine is for a second. We're going to do a little exercise here. I'm going to kind of change the pitch of the engine, and I want you to see if you can remember it, and then repitch it to straight and level. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll listen for about 5 or 6 seconds to the engine real quick. Okay, you got it?
And that's that whirring sound, right? The
Yeah.
whirr. Okay.
Now, I'm going to change the throttle and I want you to put it back without looking at
Yep.
this. I want you to see if you can do it, okay? All right, here we go. Okay, put it back to where you think it should be.
Around there?
That's pretty close. I'm going to say you're a little under.
Little
Yep,
under? Okay,
just
yeah,
a tiny bit.
It felt
So-
like I needed to go maybe, but then I felt the thrust and I was trying to sense
Well,
that thrust
forget about
too.
the throttle. Just do it by sound.
So that higher
Yeah,
tone to
that
it.
little tone.
So that's kind of cruise.
That's pretty much cruise, yeah.
So right about there.
Little high,
That's a little- that felt-
just a
yeah.
tiny bit.
So right.
You're within 100 is what I'm saying here. All right, so let's do a left turn this time.
All right.
Clear left. Yep.
I was just picking up some speed because I noticed I was slow.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get back to the right RPM, right about there. All right, so listen to it for another second or two.
Sounds different going a different direction almost.
Yeah. And you have your noise canceling on, right?
Yeah.
Northeast, Cessna 64256, 5,500, about 1 mile south of Palma Valley, been slow flight 10 gate northeast.
Okay, so now I'm gonna increase your throttle, and I want you to bring it back to about this setting, okay? So let's listen for a minute. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
A little bit less, I'm talking 100 RPM, so. My point is, the more you fly, I mean, we just do this for like 20 seconds here, and you're already kind of getting it. The more you fly, the more that I barely look at the engine RPM because I can kind of hear what it is and know what about 4,700 RPM is. The more you fly, the more you'll get that as well.
Right about there?
A little high.
Are you,
Oh, it's pretty close, yeah.
like, I mean, could be a little slower.
Right in there, yeah. Funny, huh?
Okay.
So, I just do that to show people that, yeah, it's that, whatever that sound is. That you can do it by, and again, the more you do it, the more accurate you'll be on that little tag there. All right, let's do a right turn again.
Clear. Cool.
Now on your turns, I think your nose is dipping just a smidge. So you have just a tiny bit of back pressure as you make the turn. Yeah, there you
Like
go.
that?
Just a little bit. Yeah, you can see how there's a little
Yeah.
descent going, but now you're
And now I can see the horizon
you're pretty
staying
much
through the
flat.
same
Yeah,
section.
yeah.
I've been trying to like unwed myself from instruments after getting my IFR. Now
Oh,
working
yeah?
on my commercial
Right.
single. Like, wait, there's references outside the cockpit? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, there's not. And so do you find yourself sitting for most of the right
A little bit of right pedal
foot
in.
always kind of in?
Well, Phil, if we pull the engine back a little bit,
Then it will bounce
then
off
you see
a
how
little more.
there's really not much there. Yeah. And so it all depends on your, but yeah, if you're running a little bit into normal range, you're going to have a tiny bit of right pedal
Okay.
there. Yeah.
And there's no trim for that for long flights.
There is some trim. Yeah, we have the roll trim. That's going to push us left or right, though. That's going to be
Yeah,
the stick
that's
trim, but it's
the-
not the.
with the
yeah,
rudder.
It's not the rudder trim. No, no.
Cool.
All right, so let's do this. We'll do some climbing and descending turns. So we're at 2,000 right now. We'll do a climbing turn and go up 500 feet to 2,500. And let's see if you can do that in about 180 degrees. So how much do you want? You can go full power if you want. Depends on you and how fast you want to climb. Our best rate of climb is around 60 knots, though, just so you know.
Okay. So we clear right.
And clear left, you're good.
Cool.
Go any way you want, yeah. So at 5,000 RPM, we're not going to climb a whole
So you
lot.
do need more.
You'll need more power, yeah.
Got it.
Let's just go full and see what happens.
I was concerned about hitting red line and.
You won't. I've set the engine so you won't hit red line.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So then I need to pull up so I can actually be at 60. since I'm
Correct.
going too fast.
And then you would climb up quicker.
Quicker.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
All right. Yeah. All right, we'll back it off here. So come up to the 2,500. There you go. All right, and how's our trim for 60? Is it about where you want it to be? So if you let the stick go completely, what does it do?
I'm not per se, because I keep looking at that 60 versus
Oh,
that
yeah,
60.
whichever one you want. I'm not sure which one you're
I'm
looking
trying to use this one more
Okay, yeah,
often.
that's fine. Let's do that.
It doesn't, feels like it would want to dip and dive on me. With the,
Here, let it go. Let's see what it does. A little bit down, so just a tiny bit back pressure, right about, or more. There could be some winds. That's about close to. You're within about 5 or 10. You're going to be pretty close.
okay.
That looks about right.
So don't get too nitpicky.
Yeah.
So then
Now there's a
you're
little
also-
bit of wind coming from our right, so you could adjust the roll trim like one notch like that. Let's see if that's too much. That might be too much, yeah.
I had already hit once the
Oh,
right.
did you?
so then
Yeah.
We just, but
That's pretty good right there.
it's dipping a little bit more, so.
Yeah, you will get pushed around by the wind a little bit, so, you know. But if you're in the ballpark, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see, we're 2,500 now, and we're going to do a descent. You can do a right descent by Snoop
Okay.
Dogg. And when you're facing in the direction, we'll be at 2,000. So,
All right.
however
so
you want to
that's
do that.
going to be power back.
Correct.
Go down, so we have to pick up speed.
Yeah. But I am monitoring your thing, so if you get going too fast, just
Fast,
pull back on
pull
it a
back.
little bit. You know, just keep it around 60. That'll give you a nice, decent rate of descent.
So pull back even more since we're still
Correct.
200.
That's a 2,000 foot, that's 1,500 feet a minute descent, so that's pretty good.
Ghost traffic got a,
You see how our speed stayed relatively in the 60-ish range here there.
We'll be climbing up the north direct area.
There you go. Good job.
Hear that sound a
You
little
hear the
too
sound,
loud.
see?
Yeah, I heard it a little too high. I was like, it feels like it's probably too high. Yep,
See,
sure.
people pick that up so quick, just like, oh yeah, that sound, you know. It's
Great
funny.
time with the rudder. Someone big flying over us. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Cargo. Most likely. Tons of cargo flights around here.
Yeah.
They're really flying. When you're doing some like just having fun maneuvers, then you're more positive on the stick, right?
Yeah, I always like a little bit of pressure pulling back, you know, for me what I do. So maybe I trim it forward a little bit so I have a little bit of, so I can kind of feel a little bit of pressure. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm flying across the country, I want it like, so I don't do anything, you know?
Yeah, exactly. This isn't too bad with that least. Be curious to see what it feels like when I have the full spot
Seat
back.
back,
So
yeah.
far this is fine.
Yeah, you got
Like,
like an inch there, so that's not too bad.
Just good to know because then that way I'm not having to fuss with the seats as much and it's not as long of a stretch, but the quick release on the pedals is really nice.
Yeah, it does release pretty good.
So we climbed a bit, but that's probably because we're just a hair too high.
Just a hair. All right, you can do a left turn whenever you want.
Clear left.
You're clear.
Going down, I can feel that.
Yep.
So pull up.
Hey, you can see our nose went down below the horizon a little bit.
That kind of like whoosh. Was that just winds?
Yeah,
outside?
just wind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting a feel for what the various inputs are.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the climbing range of this thing. There's what we call the power curve. If we get behind the power curve, we do that at a low airspeed. No matter how much throttle we have going on, we're not going to climb. And the guys think, oh, I want to climb. They pull the stick back to climb, but basically all you're doing is slowing down.
Yeah,
So
you're
not gonna
air braking.
climb. Yeah, you're air braking. But people see something go climb, you know. And then, so the deal with that is I'll just come on the stick with you if that's all right.
That's fine.
So I'm going to come off of the power a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to slow it down. We're going to get down to 30-ish. Okay, so at 2030, if I start increasing power, you're going to see that no matter how much power I put on, we're even full power, we're still going down. You can see we have a descent.
Yeah.
You can't climb unless you have your nose down a little bit, and we pick it up to about, starting in about the 40s, and then you'll see it'll start.
I could feel a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Nope. Is it coming? There it goes.
And then there's our increase right there. So even at full power, if you're down in the 20-30 range, you're not going to climb, you know. And so that's why I was telling you, I warn people when they're too close to the ground, if you get down to 30 miles an hour, you're going to land because you don't have the power to climb out.
And you got to push down to climb out.
You got to put your nose down, and if you're already on the ground, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So
you're going to be scratching yourself into the ground.
That's right. That's right. So at below 30, you can't climb. Above about 70 or 80 knots, you're going so fast that increasing power is not going to climb either. So you have a climb range. I'm going to say it's between like 40 and 70 is your best climb range. Best climb being 60.
60, 40, 70 climb range, 60 being best.
Right. Cool. All right, cool. All right, I'll let you just kind of play around a little bit if you want with stuff. And I'll clear you this way. Oh, I do want to show you one more thing. We'll go back down the Happy Valley and I'll give you a little introduction to pedal turning and stuff. So on the pedal turns, which I showed you on the way to Lake Matthews, you can turn it around pretty good with the pedals. The trick is you just don't want to be doing like, 100 knots and trying to pedal turn out of it because it's going to put a lot of strain on the tail and the rudder.
Okay.
So whenever you do a pedal turn, as long as you're mellow on it, I'd be slow. Maybe 40 to 50 is probably a good range for that. But you can turn pretty steeply, and I do a lot of turns like that anyway, even if you come off the power a little bit. So just by pushing the pedal down, and what I do on my start of the turn, I kind of help it with the stick. I kind of point the nose that way a little bit, and then just turn it around like that. And that way you can make a pretty steep turn,
That is
180.
That is
And you don't really have to worry about your airspeed because we can't stall.
Yeah, the parachute factor.
So, now, on all the emergency procedures and things like that, I always teach people to turn left in an emergency. And why would that be, would you think?
Because of how the blades are rotating?
That's right. The rotor blade is turning this direction. The thing wants to go left. You can turn right, but it's more you're kind of fighting it when you're, straining the thing to see how much harder it is to turn right.
It's much harder.
Yeah. Whereas left, it'll just turn like that.
We're going that way.
So I tell people in an emergency, unless there's some reason to go right, do your turns back to the runway and things like that for the left because it's trying to help you go that way anyway.
So right pattern work is a little harder then in that sense?
A little bit.
But when you have more forward speed, it's
when you have more forward speed,
not as
that's
big
right.
of a deal.
Yeah, again, it's wanting to turn left, so.
So it's clearing left and then it's giving a little nudge and then
left. Now, as I do this, see how your nose drops? So I go a little up on the
back.
stick just to keep the nose on the horizon. That'll keep you in a flat turn.
Got it.
Your airspeed's going to dip down, but that's okay. All right, let's climb back up to 2,000.
So I have to climb beyond my happy cruising sound.
Yep, that's for the climb, and then nose down to about 60.
So I can get 60.
And then you're going to have to give a little right pedal for the string. And there you go, got our climb going.
And that's where the real vibration starts happening.
Yeah, and we're flying 80 knots too, so if you pull the stick back,
I would have better climb rate.
yeah, then we'll get an hour climbing. Now we're climbing
Got it.
1,500 feet a minute, or 2,000.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you can back the power up. And we are in turbo, but coming out of turbo, now we're out of turbo. The turbocharger, you can run the turbo for about 5 continuous minutes. After that, it's going to start getting hot. And so you want
Any indications outside of you timing that properly?
No, if you start getting temperature, start getting hot, maybe. We used to have on one of these, we used to have a light for that, but I don't think this one has one of those. So I just kind of keep it mentally. You'll know if you're running full power for a long time, you should probably pull it back a little bit.
Power lines in sight. Cool.
Cool.
Clear right.
Yep.
Feel that dip.
Yep.
Dip, dip, dip. One of your favorites in terms of gyrocopters?
I like the Cavalon a lot. Yeah, it's
Like for an all-around package, like everything it
probably
does?
so. Because again, you want it more sportier. You take the doors off and fly without the doors, and it's a good long distance traveler too. It really is,
That seems like a nice blend. So then when they come out with the 916, what's gonna?
I'll find out next week because I know they have a 916 over at AutoGyro now. They're playing with.
Ooh.
I mean, this one again, 915. It's plenty of power,
Yeah, 'cause
for
what's
whatever we need.
the real difference between those two? The 916 and 915?
Oh, it's a 141 versus 160.
Okay,
So it's 20 more horsepower.
Yeah, a little more kick.
Yeah. Yeah, and none of these are going to increase your top speed. Your top speed's always going to be in that same range because of the blade. The blades you can't have your blades go faster and go supersonic, The tips of your blades can't go over 700 because it'll tear the blades up.
Got it. So they're almost like, what, 680?
I don't know what the actual speed of the tips would be, That's why your rotor speed is limited to about 600 RPM there. But again, we don't have any control over that anyway, except for altitude. Now, altitude is an interesting thing with these guys too. They're technically rated at 12 to 15,000 feet, but I've flown this We took a stock one of these with no modifications up to 27,000. So it'll get up there.
Ow.
Of course, oxygen and all that, but you know, because we're just curious about how high you could actually get them.
We're a little high on the speed.
Yep. You can kind of hear that engine too, a little high.
Yeah.
How's your roll trip? Is it pulling right or is it okay? Okay.
Just has that dip because we kind of set it to pull, so I was.
Oh yeah,
at
you're
back
right.
Pressure.
Yeah, you're right.
But the roll trim hasn't been super fighty. It's more of just that.
Yeah.
That forward trim.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, you can turn us to the left if you want. You're clear left.
Blowing us up so we can do the pedal turn.
Okay, there you go. I see a shadow.
Big boy.
Something high, yeah.
That's pretty high. It's pretty blurry.
Yeah.
Sending your sound sounds a little low.
Yep, there you go. So you're getting that ear tuned into the sound. Feels like we need a little right pedal for the string. There you go. It's always right pedal, a little left stick, yeah. And especially on takeoff, you'll note that too.
Pedal left stick.
Yeah, left stick, right pedal, yep.
So for a visual center line, you're kind of using that center.
Yeah, I should put a little
almost
mark on the windshield to see what the string is. That looks pretty straight to me.
Yeah, that feels better.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to get what my
But your vision is.
visual feels too.
Yeah, there is a little parallax as we're both looking like this, you know, for the center. That's one thing about the inline gyros. They're a little easier to line up because you're looking right down the center there.
Got it.
All right, so let's, why don't we roll back to the airport.
Okay. Grab our ATIS 12585.
Yep.
So.
And let's change this one because that's our tower. No, we'll put,
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
that's
makes
okay.
sense. Also less,
Less things to change. Yeah.
Cool.
120.12. All aircraft inbound are transitioning from the north. Contact Chino Tower on 118.5. Notice, use caution for multiple cranes in the vicinity of Chino Airport. Amendments to the instrument approach procedures and obstacle departure procedures. Check NOTAMs for details. Attention all aircraft, 5G NOTAMs in effect for Chino. For further information, contact flight service frequency. Stay position on initial contact, reback runway assignment, and hold short instructions. Use caution for birds and wildlife in the vicinity of Chino Airport. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Juliet.
Juliet.
Yeah.
Did I miss the
Chino
lines?
Airport, information Juliet, 1751 Zulu, wind calm, visibility 10. Fuel clouds at 10,000, temperature 33, dew point 12, altimeter 29er, 901. ILS runway 26 right approach to you, landing in the
All right, so the area we over is the Chino Hills. And he's probably going to make us do right traffic for 26 right.
Where are you heading today?
We're heading to the easiest way for you to get me to the home pass.
Be straight north, buddy.
Is he talking to him? Guess not.
No.
Chino Tower, Gyro 232 Papa Golf with Juliet is over Chino Hills and heading in for landing.
Gyro 232 Papa Golf, Chino Tower, wind calm, altimeter 2990, make right traffic from 26 right.
Right traffic, 26 right, 2 Papa Golf.
Cool.
Groovy, and then speed.
So we're pretty much on the downwind right here.
Yeah. I was noticing that setup. I'm like, oh, that works. So do you use this road as kind of a guide?
Yeah, the road is pretty much a good downwind, maybe just a smidge to the left of the road, but it's pretty close right here. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And then I'm gonna yaw. There we go.
Yep.
So much yaw. That's a little too much right there.
Chino
but
Tower,
right
04,
there.
so you can just do a right downwind departure if that works for you.
46 Echo, right turn hotel, on the ground point 6.
Hotel over to ground 46 Echo.
Here for X-ray, roger, copy.
Cool. So you can do the.
Yep.
What are you all at?
24 turn base.
For what?
Are you 1400 pattern altitude?
Yeah.
One-time golf turn, downwind traffic on a base to 21 north-south, helicopter 1,300.
So I stay up here just because the ground level's here. Once I get to the freeway down there, I usually drop down to about 1,800 feet.
Here for X-ray.
Oh, just once you get out there,
yeah. Right, quick takeoff.
I was just noticing my power being
clear for takeoff right
air
now.
higher.
Yeah.
Sorry, you want to golf turn, keep that helicopter inside short approaches, approved traffic departing right now. Skyline runway 26 or right, cleared to land.
How many hours do you now have in rotorcraft?
In gyros, I've got about 3,500 now.
Awesome.
17 Golf traffic off the base parallel runway Cessna.
Inside, 17 Golf.
I guess that is in rotorcraft, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
The things with the spinny blades.
Yeah, right. I do some helicopter flying too, but I'm not licensed in the helicopter. A buddy of mine's got a Hughes of 500D. It's with a turbine. It's sweet. It's really fun to fly.
Oh, I got to fly in. I can't remember which model it is. My dad will know. At Oshkosh in 2018, got a tour in that one. It was turbine. It was awesome.
Oh, they're fun. So much fun. They're just too damn expensive, though. That's a problem.
I know. and then to have something like this that pretty much gives you
pretty much everything except you can't hover. That's it. But you know, you can do a pretty good hover simulation.
Yeah. Okay. Like how often am I needing to really hover though in my
Yeah,
life?
exactly. You know,
Not rescuing people. Not
right.
parking it on a mansion.
Yep.
So I think I'm okay. Is that just a reservoir for them?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay, we're about 3 miles to the northeast, 1,400, like the eastern half. We're going to be patrolling the area. I'll stay east of the center, or east of the watch, north of the center line.
5010 Chino Tower, Chino Timbers 2990, approves as requested. Traffic on a right downwind departure climbing out of 1,300 Skylane eastbound.
At that traffic ahead.
Yeah.
17 Golf, right turn hotel, contact ground point 6.
Who's turning?
Right.
Skyline 04 X-ray traffic,
probably
northeast of the field, southbound for patrol just north of center line, east of the wash.
You can go down to 14 now if you want. We'll just get under him.
Looking for the traffic, 04 X-ray.
Are they going right?
04 X-ray, and for that
Might
right
actually
departure,
going to the
continue at or below 2,000.
I think he's heading away from us in here. Yeah.
SoCal departure 125.5, yeah.
SoCal on 25.5, good day.
Yeah, so this is one of the men's prisons. That's a men's prison. That's a men's prison. The
2 Papa Golf, runway 26 right to clear to land.
26 right, clear to land, 2 Papa Golf.
that prison, the ghost prison, way up there, used to be a youth prison. And back in the early 2000s, the prisoners took over the prison, you know, and they set a bunch of stuff on fire and all that. And so they had to bring SWAT team in and take the prison back. But it's been closed since then.
Wow.
Charlie 2 Papa Golf, traffic downwind, south parallel runway via Cessna.
Roger, we'll look for traffic, 2 Papa Golf.
So as I fly over this prison, I'll just drop a file out the window.
Good luck.
Yeah.
There's another warehouse being built.
Oh yeah, they just continue to build and build.
Chino Tower, Cessna 756.
Yeah, there must have been a lot of just
right
flat,
for a downwind.
empty
It was all. This was all huge farmer properties, farms. You know,
Like Happy Valley,
runway
right?
heading runway 26 right, clear
Yeah.
for takeoff.
farms and prisons.
Take off, heading 26 right, 6 Golf.
64 request takeoff, runway 21.
Was that 2 Papa Golf? I think that was there's a citation.
We'll follow a gyro
Not a
just east of the power lines there in the downwind. Runway 21 north Alpha, clear for takeoff.
There's another aircraft right north. It's 2 Papa Golf.
Takeoff, clear to land, runway 21 north of Alpha. We'll follow the gyro, please before.
So in terms of your pattern, it's the same, 45 off to turn base.
Yeah, I do that. Usually I turn my base just past that tree line over there on the right. That's a good place for base, and then I'll show you when we get up here. Yeah. And this is pretty much exactly where I fly downwind.
Okay.
So a little tighter maybe than an airplane, but again, the deal is we only have a 4-to-1 glide ratio. So if we lose power, we're going pretty much diagonally down, you know.
Got it.
And the trade-off, of course, is we land super short, but. And we'll practice that in the emergency procedures. We'll pull the power in the pattern here, and we'll just barely make it to the, to the runway.
From like right here?
From here, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the angle. And
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
10561 Golf, continue runway heading. Contact tower south 120.12, 2012. They'll call your turn.
Cool. How many aircraft are here?
Continue runway heading, we'll contact tower 61 Golf.
All right, so everything's looking good.
Runway in sight.
Yep, right up to the tree line. As I turn onto my base, I start coming off the power a little bit, since we want to start coming down.
Is that about the sound-ish?
Yeah, I go about 3,500 RPM. All depends on how much wind I have, you know. If you have a really strong wind, you know, you're not going to go much when you point into the wind. But that's a pretty good descent right there.
And then on final,
Up, clear my way, and you can just...
clear right.
Yep. And 60, again, 60 is pretty much good for everything. So your approach speed 60 is also good.
I'll pull up a little bit.
Yeah, we can come off the power a little more too. We're a little high, but I mean, I actually like flying a little high, maybe on 4 lights on the VASI.
Where you're going to be taxiing off of?
Because we don't have because we just don't have a glide ratio. So you can put the nose down. So my 2 things I watch on landing, and I'll kind of do it, but I don't want you to be with me on it, is I want to get to 60.
Okay.
I like approach at 60, about right there. And then making sure your nose is straight. See how our nose is a little to the left? Yep, so a little right, nose down for that speed.
There's a power and throttle, we're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Coming down the runway, I like to plane it out just like a foot off the ground, like here, and then I just wait. And then when you get close, you just slowly pull back. That one was a little bit slow. Yeah, so I like getting down a foot off the ground before I start slowing it down. If you're up at 10 feet, then you'll drop 10 feet. All right, and then we're going to, then once you've stopped, stick full forward. All the way, just push it on up there. Rotor.
2 Papa Golf, right turn Delta, contact ground point 6.
Right on Delta 2 Papa Golf. And then pump it up, down.
Oh, sorry, down.
Yeah. Sorry. Pump it up by pulling it down. After about 8. So there, you know, now you have, it's pretty, you know, good. It's not going to come back. And then rotor management. So as the rotor is slowing down, again, I do believe this is one of the more dangerous times. It's got that weight swinging around. As long as you're in a straight line, you can stop or do whatever. It's just don't brake and turn at the same time, because then you're in the wheelbarrow mode.
So like coming up on this center line, I would just hit the brakes.
Yeah, like here, you could just brake it.
Brake it.
All right.
And then now,
and then just as you're coming up, if you have a strong wind down the runway, I always point the stick into the wind. Yeah.
don't have grounded.
I want to 1.6. I'll put it in real quick. All right, we're on ground. We'll come off. Oh, there we go. All right.
Chino ground 232 Papa Golf is at Delta. Request taxi to Eagle's Nest.
Gyro off Delta, Chino ground, taxi to parking via Delta Mike.
Delta Mike to Papa Golf.
All right. All right, so let's play with the overdrive. That'd be kind of fun. So here's the trick on the overdrive. You're in brake mode, but you're going to push the overdrive and the pre-rotor at the same time. So I'll push both of those. It's going to take a second to catch the blade. It's kind of a game. It'll start it, and then when you think it's good, you have to let it go a little early.
Let go of both?
Yeah. What?
Oh, it was way too late. Way too. I didn't know it was going to make it that far over. So then what do? You just wait.
Let's try it again. We'll just keep playing. We'll bring the other blade around.
Gosh, so I have to like wait until it's almost off the A-bar.
The game.
I turned it off. Oh. So the more momentum it has, the more it's
more it goes, yeah.
Okay, well we have this one coming through.
It only took me about 2,000 attempts to kind of figure it out.
Does it?
Juliet Alpha crossing
Son of a... not enough. Oh, it's amazing. You give it just that tiny bit.
It's got to be just the perfect amount. There you go.
Almost.
And I'll turn into it to keep it. Now it goes that too far. I can actually pull it back this way, and then release it, and then pull it over. That's maybe an easier way to do it, but if it stops completely 90 degrees sideways, then overdrive is the best way to kind of get it in the ballpark, you know.
In terms of this speed, I feel like I'm going really fast.
So you could slow it down a bit, yeah.
But what's your preference?
About a fast walk, about like this is
This?
probably good, yeah.
So then are you hitting it often? Cause
I am. I'm
picking
doing
it
like this, and I'm off it. And
Okay.
I let it slow down, then I hit it, then off. Yeah. So
Cool.
as long as you're not just like riding it, then that's when it'll get hot. Yeah.
Clear on your door.
Here on my door.
You want to be for no.
And the shade is
wash.
cool. Yeah. Why not? Right here is good.
Okay.
And then it switches mags and key.